Just this past weekend on Sunday, we had an amazing block party. We invited the whole street out to come over just in front of our house. We live in a pretty cool kind of cul-de-sac street. So it was fairly easy to do, but we had a jumping castle on our neighbour's lawn. We had basketball hoop right in the middle of the street. People put tables out in the street. Our front lawn was just full of our neighbours. And we just had the most amazing afternoon. It got dark and people were still there. Everyone bought something to share, so it really didn't take a lot of effort, to be honest, or energy to really put it together. A few phone calls to get a few things booked in. Other than that, everyone came up and really just kind of contributed to just an incredible time. And as people were leaving, they just came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for organising this. This was amazing. It was really a perfect afternoon." And we're kind of fortunate because the day before we had a hailstorm, literally, not far from us. There was like 13 centimetre hailstones just falling out of the sky. So we certainly got lucky on the day we chose this weekend. But it kind of reminded me of the way You Belong began. This charity I started just began by driving up to Toowoomba with some friends and holding a picnic to celebrate some families that had just arrived from Iraq and Syria into this town called Toowoomba. And we just celebrated them. It was that easy. It was as simple as, what can I do? What's within my power? What's within my ability to love my neighbour, to care for those around me that would probably are in real need right now? And that's really what stuck out to me with this episode with Stu G. Episode 16 and 15. I had a 2-part conversation with Stu. But really what really stuck out to me was this moment where he says, we could ask ourselves, if only my leader or my president or my prime minister would act a certain way and do certain things and making a difference and living the life that I would want them to live, then maybe we'd see the change in our community. Or maybe my pastor or my mayor, he says, or you can bring it back as far as you want. But until you start asking the question, what about me? What can I do? What if I am the one that changed? And I want to encourage you guys, you can start a movement just by making a simple step to say, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something for my neighbourhood. I'm going to do something for those in my community that I are noticing are really having a rough time right now. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would love your support, plenty of charities or organisations that could do with a volunteer. Guys, you can do something. We could talk about justice all we want, but if we're not prepared to go in and make a difference and do, have a little sweat on our own brow, then we're just all talk. We're not action. So I want to encourage you that, guys, it's challenging to think about what is it that I'm doing. But it was certainly something that stood out to me with what Stu shared. And I know if you go back and listen to part 1 and part 2 of my conversation, you're going to really come away with some great motivation to actually make a difference and make a change in your community. And I wanted to just add one more thought. You know that famous saying by John F. Kennedy that says, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." Well, I feel like as we think about, right now in this moment of electing a president, and here in Australia in the state of Queensland where I live, electing a new governor or a new premier to lead our states, we could be asking ourselves, and we could be complaining about the leaders that we have and wishing that they should be doing more. But I think the question really needs to be asked at the end of the day, what about us? What are we doing for those around us that are hurting? What are we doing for those that don't have the privilege and the position that we have been given? And for many of us, probably not even earned. But even if we have worked hard, how can we use that which we've worked hard for to be a blessing to those around us? That is the question I think we really all need to be asking. And I don't think there's a better time to ask it than now. Let's not complain. Let's not gripe. Let's not point the finger at anybody else and expect them to be doing more. Let's ask ourselves. And I think if we all can do that, oh my goodness, wouldn't this world be an incredible place, a more beautiful world, I know, for us all to live and belong in. Thanks for listening, guys. Cheers.